What's up, everybody? In this video, I'm going to talk about the most important metric that you can watch as you're building up your training and as it relates to the Ironman training specifically. So let's dive right into it. This past week, I completed my 5th full week of Ironman training with my new coaches, and I am going to break down each day and then dive into the training insight that um, really shifted the way that I'm beginning to think about this endurance training in general. So let's start with our weekly breakdown. Monday, I started the week with a 50-minute maintenance run at Zone 2. For me, Zone 2 is between 10-minute per mile pace and 10 minutes and 32 seconds. Following that Zone 2 run, I did my workout prescribed to me by my coaches. Again, the main purpose of this workout isn't to say build muscle, it's to more protect my joints, since I'm really pounding on them with the running and using them nonstop with these 6-day training weeks. So Tuesday, I spent an hour and 15 minutes on the bike with interval training as part of that hour and 15 minutes. So as part of the interval training, there were 6 3-minute intervals in Zone 4, and along with the build up and the cool down from that. This workout was absolutely insane. I actually was talking to my coach today because I had a similar workout today to this one, and honestly, these interval workouts on the bike have really given me a newfound respect for cyclists because of all the workouts in the week. This specific cycling workout, this interval work, is just destroying me. Like, I'm leaving puddles on the floor. Today, I even laid a towel under my bike. You can see my bike in the background. Laid a towel under my bike so that I don't have to mop the floor again after doing this interval workout. So I could share that in another video if you want to build out your own interval work into Zwift, or you could even probably do it on a spin bike, but Zwift and your actual bike that you're going to be racing with or training with is probably the best bet. So moving on to Wednesday. Wednesday was a 5-mile run, again with threshold intervals. So the intervals on this run were 3 4-minute intervals at 95% pace. So right now, based on the run test that I performed a few weeks ago, my 95% pace is around 8:50 through 9:22. So probably not too fast for you runners out there, but for me, this is a sufficient pace to start building in speed to my workouts. Thursday was a very welcome, easy hour on the bike, followed by the same workout routine from Monday. And Friday was an off day, another very welcome off day. Sunday, I mentioned in my last video, or Saturday rather, that we're starting to build bricks into my training program now, where a brick is a workout where you do more than one discipline. So it could be swim, bike, swim, run, run, bike. You get the gist. This specific brick is considered a reverse brick because you're doing a run and then a bike. So it's a reverse brick because in the Ironman triathlon, I would be normally doing bike then run. So this is a reverse order of that. So this brick, or reverse brick, was a 15-minute warm-up run, and this is at warm-up pace. So I stayed around 10:30 to 11 minutes per mile on that. Then T1, which, if you're not familiar with the nomenclature of triathlons, there'll be usually a T1 and a T2, and that stands for transition 1 and transition 2. So T1 is the transition between the run and the bike. The goal of your transitions is to minimize the time that you're spending transitioning from one to the other. In that time, you're usually changing. So if you have the time and you're doing this at your leisure, I would say take my bike shorts off if I was going from bike to run and putting my running shoes on. In this case, I was taking off my sweatpants that I ran with outside and putting on my bike shorts. So then following the transition, it was an hour and 45 minutes on the bike. So 15-minute run, transition, hour 45 on the bike. In total, about a 2 hour and 10-minute workout, including the transition. Then the last workout of the week, Sunday, which was a 7-mile run at Zone 2. And as I spoke about before, Zone 2 is between 10-minute miles and 10-minute and 32-second miles. As you'll see, and this surprised me I didn't think about this until I looked back, I ran 1, 2, 3, 4 of the days of the week. So my coaches are subtly slipping in more running days, even if it's just for a short bit, which is, I believe, making my legs acclimate to running a bit more. So holding these intervals at their scheduling for me is becoming much easier. I'm expecting that on my next run test, I'll do much better than my first run test, and then unfortunately or fortunately, these workouts are going to get much harder across the board because my speeds will increase on every run of the week. So looking forward to that. Now, the moment you're all waiting for, or maybe the only thing you care about in this video, which is the most important metric to watch out for while you're building up your training. And I learned this, I want to say the hard way, or more in retrospect, because regardless of if I knew it or not, I still would have had to go through the periods that I went through to learn this. And this metric is your 3-week weekly average in your training load and how your current week's effort compares to that. So that might be a lot, but it's not nearly as complicated as it sounds. So say you're used to running 5 miles a week, every week, and then you start ramping up your training, but in the first week that you start ramping up, you ramp up to 10 miles for the week. So what did you essentially do? You doubled your training volume. So now have that image in your head, and then think about the start of an Ironman training block. If you're not already in, I'll say, really good shape and really good cardiovascular shape, both with biking and running, it's going to be a significant increase to what you would normally be doing in your day-to-day life. So that's true for me, as I'm sure it's true for a lot of other people out in the world. The amount of time that you can spend in that overtraining state is limited. So luckily, as you're increasing your training volume, you should keep in mind the fact that you shouldn't be continually increasing or doubling your effort down, because you'll stay in that overtraining state. But if you increase to, say, a certain point and then hold around there for 3 weeks or so, your body will have the time to really build fitness in at that level and acclimate to the new training load. And that's essentially what my coaches did. But those first, for me, it was 4 weeks. The first 4 weeks of that build I was in the overtraining state, overtraining state, overtraining state, and overtraining state on my um, on my graphs that I use to keep track of my training load. And I didn't quite think of this, but I was feeling the symptoms of that training effect in my day-to-day life. And then with that training volume remaining relatively steady for week 5, I noticed an incredible increase in my energy levels. I noticed a clear difference in my hormone levels, as well as just drive, overall sense of well-being, and my numbers. So the numbers that I'm viewing as part of my training data. So this is important because a lot of people, when they take on a new training effort, week 1, you're all motivated and it feels really good to be doing this new effort. And you may not realize it, but as you get to week 2 and week 3, you might start feeling like little tweaks and little injuries, and your energy's getting lower and lower and lower, and you might feel like you're just driving yourself into the ground. And you kind of are, because you're staying in a state that's unsustainable for your body, so far at least, because a point's going to come when you enter into like a steady state with that training volume, and that's when your body really feels the fitness that it had built over those past 3 to 4 weeks. In short, you're going to feel like hell until that hellish feeling becomes the new normal for your body, or that level of effort becomes normal for your body, and then you're going to adapt and grow into that. So now, week 5 being complete, I can say for certain that I'm much fitter than when I started. I could say that I feel much better than, say, my week 2 and my week 3, and I'm feeling more confident in the effort that I'm putting out. Again, this is analyzed in retrospect. Had I known this going in, maybe it would have eased my mind a little bit, knowing that, okay, I'm going to feel like absolute hell for weeks 2, 3, and 4, just because of this unsustainable volume that I'm adding into my life. And that's really important for you to know. And that's why I'd say it's the most important metric for you to track if you're just starting building up your training program. It doesn't change the fact that you're going to feel this way, but it lets you know that this is a normal process, and 2, it lets you know that you're going to recover from this. You could build in a less steep ramp and stay within that fine line of not overtraining and just build up much slower over time, and in that way you would gain in fitness, but you wouldn't go through this absolutely horrible period of just feeling drained, your hormones feel out of whack, no drive, just a boatload of symptoms that you can avoid. But if you're hopping into a major effort that you really can't ramp up as slowly as you would wish, then the next best thing is just to understand that this is the nature of the beast. This is what you signed up for. You'll push through, you'll grow into it, and you're going to get better. That's the only thing that that I could say to that. And if you think that it gets easier as you get more fit and higher and closer to the top, I could say that even feeling much better following week 5 on today's workout, and I'll cover this in my next video, but today's workout was another hour and 15 minutes on the bike, but the interval time went from 3 minutes to 5 minutes each zone 4 interval. So 2 more minutes per interval in zone 4, which was absolutely hellish. And I was in my final interval just today, and I was telling myself, I think my legs might fail out on this one. This is really hard. And then I had the thought come into my mind. I had to remind myself that, like, so what? This is hard. That's like saying the sky is blue. Like, of course this is hard. This is what you signed up for. This is what you're training for. This is hard. You're going to finish the workout. You're not going to fail out. You're going to push through. And instead of saying and focusing on the fact that it's hard and that you're running out of energy and your legs are getting exhausted, you're just push forward. So even on a week where I'm feeling much better about myself, my energy, my hormones, everything, it's not gonna it's not gonna get easier. In fact, it's gonna stay at this level of hard. I don't know if that's encouraging to you or discouraging to you that it's gonna stay this hard, but it's what it is, and that's how you build toughness, and that's why people really respect people who can continually put themselves through the grinder and just get what they need to get done. And if you really want to start thinking about this even deeper, you can apply this to your work life, your personal life, pretty much anything. If you think that training is an isolated endeavor and the principles that you'll learn in training are completely unique to fitness, then I suggest that you start thinking a little bit deeper about the relationship of life, because I don't know where some of you may be in your careers, but if you think that you're working hard now and you really put an effort in to improve, then given a period of, say, 5-6 months of working really hard, you'll probably look back at the effort that you think is really hard right now and realize that it was only a fraction of what you were capable of. And knowing how to push the envelope and stay on that fine edge of improvement is where you're gonna really learn that you can grow in all aspects of your life, not just your fitness. You can use this 3-week volume principle, 3-week average volume principle for pretty much everything. And there's the inside of the week with a unique tie to business and the rest of your life. So, bonus. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you at the next video, which will be the 6th week completed. I'd also like to add, and I pointed this out in the last video, that we haven't missed a single training session, so let's keep this train going. Alright, happy training, and take a look at that. Take a look at if you're feeling low energy and you're feeling drained and you feel like in heavy working or heavy training blocks, your libido, your hormones, your drive just goes through the floor. And then think about this volume principle. Okay, thanks everybody.